Hi friends of Jubilee Plus. Before I dive into this week's Monday Mercy video, I just want to say if you were with us at the weekend for the Churches That Change Communities conference, it was so good to have you join us. Whether you were with us in Manchester or whether you joined us online, we really hope you came away from the day freshly envisioned, inspired and equipped, and most of all that you heard from God for yourself and for the people that you serve and that you're alongside. I wanted to talk this week in our Monday Mercy video about something I learned about recently. So I mentioned in last week's video that I had the opportunity not too long ago to go to the Christian Social Impact Network and have a day's coaching for leaders of Christian charities in the UK. And one of the things I learned about that day is a term I hadn't heard before, probably familiar to many of you, a business term, which is sunk cost fallacy. Sunk costs, I'm probably going to not do this justice, but my understanding of it is that basically what it means is it's kind of like throwing good money after bad. It's like when you've invested in something so much, and even though it's yielded no fruit and given you no return, because you've invested so much, you can't stop. You feel like my next investment is going to be the point at which everything turns a corner, and this can be true in business, it can be true in relationships, it can be true in different ways. It's basically, I guess, not knowing when to kind of cut your losses, to put it in that kind of business speak. And it just got me to thinking, because the most common question I'm asked after I speak in churches on a Sunday morning is that usually someone will come up to me, especially if I've pushed really, really hard on the relentless mercy of God and how we're called to be a merciful people who keep giving and keep going and keep pursuing and keep pushing. And I will have someone almost all the time come up to me afterwards and explain to me a heartbreaking situation in their life where maybe they've just given so much to someone. Maybe they've invested so much time or so much money or so much help or support, and they've put so much in, and really what they want to know is, can I walk away? When can I walk away? And like I say, that's the most common question I'm asked, and it connected with me to this idea of sunk cost fallacy. And when do we know when kind of the time of something is up? When do we know when, we should step away from a project, or when we've helped someone to the best of our ability and now really probably we can't help anymore? And a friend and I have actually been debating this for the last couple of months. Not so much about the term sunk cost fallacy. We've been talking though about how do you know when to walk away? And my friend is a very, very different temperament to me. She is someone, she's like, nah, come on, this situation, it's just hurting you, or this person, you've given so much to them, or, this situation or this project or whatever it might be, you've put so much in. And she would find it much easier than I would to walk away, to see when actually something's run its course, or something's had its time, or you're just maybe getting too hurt or too caught up in something. Whereas I'm the other way. I'm very much like, no, I'm just going to keep going, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep going. And I was thinking about it in terms of it almost seems like it's wisdom pitted against mercy. My friend's approach is wise. She is very wise and good at saying enough's enough now. Whereas I like to think that I'm like, no, God's so spoken to me about his mercy that I want to just keep going and keep being merciful, and this is who he's called me to be, and blah, blah, blah. But in the Bible, wisdom and mercy are not actually pitted against each other at all. They're not. We can see this so much of the time. When we see someone begging for money on the streets and that thought goes through our head, I wonder if I give them money, what will they do with it? It feels like it's wisdom against mercy. But actually in James 3, really fascinating verse where it talks about what wisdom is, and there's a list of things, and among them it says wisdom is full of mercy. Wisdom is full of mercy. So as we head into this week, why don't we ponder that? Because do you know what? Jesus is obviously ultimately wise, but he is also ultimately merciful. Jesus never cuts his losses with us. Jesus never leaves us, never forsakes us. He never walks away from us. I know there have been times in my life where for him to keep investing his mercy in me would have looked unwise to any human around, and yet he has pursued me. His goodness and mercy have followed me all the days of my life. I'm so grateful that Jesus actually doesn't kind of just go, well, I've sunk too much cost in here and it's yielded no fruit, so I'm going to walk away. He doesn't do that. Jesus keeps investing in us, keeps pursuing us, keeps pouring out mercy upon mercy on us. But he is wise. So it's not to say that we shouldn't think about the wise way to approach things, but let's make sure that our wisdom is full of mercy. Let's make sure that we're holding wisdom and mercy not against each other, but together, doing both, because we're to lead with mercy. We're to be a people who lead with mercy. And God will give us wisdom. It promises that in James, that if we ask God for wisdom, he will give it to us. He'll give us wisdom, but that wisdom will always be full of mercy. So when you're trying to weigh up, is this project over? Should I invest more in this situation or this person? Ask yourself that question. Am I kind of subscribing to a sunk cost fallacy? Am I thinking I'm just going to keep throwing more and more into this? What does it look like to be wise here? But what does it look like to make sure that my wisdom is absolutely full of the mercy of God? Have a good week.